Today I'm going to show you how I made this LED movie marquee sign. I'm going to start in Illustrator. I picked a big thick font. This one happens to have a center line to help align the holes for the LEDs. I make the letters 4 inches tall. I turn the font to outlines, then group the center lines together and change their color. Next, I'm going to use the Path Offset menu to create inner walls for the front and back pieces of the letters. I'll explain this better in a bit. I create a circle that's the same size as my LEDs. For me, it's 4.7 millimeters. And I lay copies of that circle along the center lines and tweak them until they look good. I delete the center lines, arrange the letters on the artboard so they'll fit on my X-Carve, and make some last-minute adjustments for clearance. Save it as an SVG, and we're off to easel. First, I'm going to save a mother file as a master in case I mess up. Then I make copies of the file, one for the front halves of the letters, one for the back, and one for the plastic inserts. As I work on each file, I just delete the shapes I don't need. I set up the cuts inside for the inner walls and outside for the outer walls. The back halves of the letters have thicker walls than the fronts, so that the plastic inserts have a ledge to rest on about halfway through. Now I'm running the Inlay app on the letters. I use the female half to replace the inner walls on the front halves, and the male piece for the plastic inserts. I'm using the Align tools here to line up the shapes, and then I'm deleting the old paths. Since my stock is only 6 inches wide, I'm masking off the top letters for now. I'll cut them on another piece. Once again, aligning all the letters and deleting the original shapes, setting up the material for the cut. Now we set up a stop block on the saw and cut the 6x stock down, run it through the joiner, and bring the pieces inside. I tape the back side of each board with masking tape, then carpet tape. This makes for easier cleanup later. I line the board up, press it down, set up the cutter, and away we go. Now I'm sanding the inner walls of the front halves of the letters. Once they're glued together, I won't be able to get sandpaper into the corners, so now's the time. I'll sand the outsides once I glue the letters together. I set masking tape down and lay the letters on it. I line them up how I want to see them and mark the bottoms of the letters. Now I mark where the holes in the letters will go and measure left to right. Next, it's time to cut the pieces for the base. The sides are cut to length and the end pieces are cut to 2 inches, then the top is ripped using the ends as a guide. And cut to length minus ½ inch. Now I use my guide tape on the base, lined up on the center. I put double-sided tape over that and then put the letters back down on their marks. I'm going to transfer the hole markings to the bottom of the baseboard using tape. My ruler is 1 inch tall, so finding the center line is easy. Now I drill holes up through the base and the letters. These will be alignment holes and give me a place to run my wires. It's time to glue up all the letters. I'm not using a ton of glue here, only putting it on the top half of each letter. They aren't structural, so they don't have to be super strong joints. They just have to stand up to being sanded. I'm also gluing and tacking together the box for the base. It's tall because it's going on top of a bookcase with a ledge. Next, I cut out the plastic inserts. This is mirrored acrylic from Inventables. I'm doing the wiring in a novel way. First, I cut 5 strips of cardboard 3/8 of an inch wide. This was a gift box with a white side and a gray side. This will be important in a minute. I'll use the white side as positive and the gray side as negative when I do my wiring. This keeps everything easy. Here I'm inserting the LEDs into the letter and threading the cardboard strip between the legs. Now I use 1/4 inch copper tape to line both sides of the strip, making sure they don't touch. Once that's done, I'll reinsert the strip between the leads and twist the LEDs so that each lead makes good contact with the copper strip. Now I solder the leads of the LEDs to the copper tape on each side of the strip and solder about 1 foot of hookup wire to the bottom of each letter. This connects the LEDs in parallel. I'll test each letter as I go and make sure they light up. Now the right way to do this is to use a resistor for each LED, but since I know I'll be underdriving these, I'm only going to use one big resistor on the negative end before the remote. The E was kind of tricky. I had to solder a jumper for that middle leg to get the positive to connect. I've painted the letters now and superglued them to the base using the holes with screws in them as alignment pins and a ruler to make sure they're all straight. Next, I assemble the inserts into the wood letters, thread the wires down into the base, and build the circuit to power them all. I'm using a 5-volt 1-amp USB power supply along with a USB charging cable for power. Then I have an RF remote controlling the LEDs. Then I put a 2-ohm 3-watt resistor on the negative lead, grouped all the positives and negatives together, and connected them all with wire nuts. All the solder connections have heat shrink on them. The braided USB cable has some heat shrink as well to keep the nylon from fraying. Now I just hook all the wires into the base and I'm done. Thanks for watching.